Hello everyone, welcome to another podcast of the Happiness Incorporated. I'm here with good old famous Alberto Torres.
Hi people.
Hello. So Eric, tell us something about yourself. Who are you and what are you doing for the Happiness Incorporated?
I started working for the Happiness Inc. because I came out of a dirty place back in the days and I want to change the world. So I joined the Happiness Inc. because they promised me a better future.
Absolutely. And what kind of future would that be for you? What is for you a happy future?
No, that's a good question. Let me think about it.
It can be anything really. Just start simple. You don't have to overcomplicate it.
What could be a good future? Yeah, where's everyone happy and lead the life they want to.
Mm-hmm. Well, let's just straight up jump into the whole subject, what I want to talk about. This week's topic will be about addiction, and you are a person who is very familiar with this subject. Because you have been doing...
Oh yeah, I went through therapy because I'm a diagnosed addict to various stuff, and I know this shit pretty well. Yeah, what do you want to know about addiction?
Well, I know that you have been doing a lot of drugs in the past, but right now you're 2 years clean,
Yeah.
right? Congratulations, by the way, that's very impressive, and I know that you're taking so many steps to basically improve your life in so many different ways, such as, for example, not even using YouTube anymore. Dude, that's fucking great. There aren't many people that could say that they're slowly distancing themselves from social media, from any kind of internet medium, but also substances as well. But could you inform the listener, the viewer, why you started using, if you're comfortable with that, of course?
Oh yeah, I'm like most of the addicts. I started using drugs and basically everything else to avoid things in life, mostly emotions and uneasy situations I don't wanna take on. So I use the drugs to get away from it, to find a side way, but it doesn't solve it.
Like a coping mechanism.
Like
so
a
to say.
coping mechanism, yeah.
All right. So, would you blame the user or the drug for the addiction?
The circumstances.
Circumstances. Could you elaborate?
If I look back on my life, I'm mostly a victim of the addiction because I didn't choose it. I was only looking for an exit out of this miserable situation I was in.
An exit.
An exit, yeah, a solution.
Okay.
And now I realize taking drugs is no solution. It's making the things worse and will resolve in death.
Mm-hmm. And how do you feel towards drugs in general right now? And let's say if someone is using around you, how do you feel about that?
In the past 2 years, I developed a mindset of tolerance and acceptance. I don't want to do this shit anymore because I'm saying a little bit with humor. I took enough for a lifetime.
Nice.
But for people around me, if it helps them in this situation, fine. I don't mind.
Mm-hmm.
But don't get me involved. I will say no.
Sure. I got another question for you. So, how do you feel about the youth nowadays? There's so many availabilities. It's so easy to basically get your hands on drugs. It's so easy to use a computer as an addiction. It's so easy to hide behind the social media. Do you feel like society in general is getting more or less addicted?
I feel like the society develops a lot of more pressure on the youth, and the youth is conscious about this pressure they're having, because the future rests on their shoulders, and they have so many more possibilities to distract themselves. Not only drugs, but basically everything, like social media. Oh yeah, how many kids I see in the public transportation using Instagram and so on. So they don't have to face the problems at home, in school, with themselves.
But what you were saying is like there's a lot of pressure for the future for this generation, so to say.
Yeah, because they're more aware of it.
But you mean, they're more aware of it, right? Like I was about to go into it, like the let's say the generation before us, like I wouldn't say per se that they have more or less pressure than we do, but we are more aware of what's going on around us because of the internet, and we're being bombarded with so many negative messages. Like if you watch the news, like it's just these people got killed and Brexit is on its way and it's all gonna be terrible, and news nowadays is only so negative, you know. And I feel like that could be why we basically we have this craving to escape our reality, you know, to dive into something what makes it easier to live with, so to say, to live with ourselves, really. I mean, it's insane. Like, for example, also like suicide rates, they go up, depression go up. Do you think that has anything to do with like the world we live in right now? Like, where do you think, my question is like, where do you think this comes from, you know? Like, why do we feel less satisfied with ourselves, even though we are living, so to say, better lives?
Yeah, I think I want to connect to the topic you were, what you were mentioning before. I stopped watching television, for example, years ago, because it really annoyed me that the news were always that negative and polarizing, and I'm a positive person and I want to see the good things in life. So yeah, I stopped watching television. And yeah, where it's a tricky question. I say it's made that we feel bad and not satisfied, because due to the fact that we're so interconnected with the internet, we see everyone else, what they have and what they got and what they do. So it's a very good nurture for the jealousy and the low self-esteem.
Yeah, I got. We have to close the podcast right now. Do you got something you want to say to everyone who is viewing? Some advice, or how they can relate to you? Well, I think we all should relate to people who have been addicts in a way, because in some way, somewhere, we are all addicted to something, you know. Some people are addicted to making money, some people are addicted to hanging out with friends, you know. What do you want to say to all the viewers that are watching right now?
That's what I'm mostly saying to people I'm meeting at groups to help themselves. Doesn't make you happy what you're doing. Ask this yourself and be aware of what you're doing.
Alright, man. I want to thank you. Guys, tune in next week for another podcast. This was Happiness Incorporated. Over and out. Awesome.